It's Chillmonger, WandaVision, episode 9. Wow. This show is over now. This show went 9 episodes, and I can think of all the things I would change if I could have done WandaVision over again. And a lot of that has to do with the length of the episode. A lot of that has to do with the presentations of the episode, the trailers, the interviews. Something that I do not blame them for is all of the fan theories, which got everybody thinking mutants were coming every week. It was, you see that in the first episode? That means mutants are coming. Hey, what was the stork all about? That means Mephisto is coming. Hey, what about the commercial with the fruit roll-ups? That means that the Nightmare is coming and all the other characters are coming. That's not on Marvel. If you guys wanted to go there and dig deep, fine. They might have put a little thing or two which I will recognize as nods to comic book lore. Others have recognized it as hints, Easter eggs, proof. None of that was evidence for anything special. So if you did go into episode 9 thinking wildly, kudos to you and your imagination. You're not, that's part of the fun, obviously, is watching, expecting to see what you're, and then we anticipate the next episode with a lot of glee. Kudos to you, but that's not how I went into these, and that's why I came off with a favorable opinion of this show in total. Everything I said earlier about the early episodes, forget them. But the good parts were good. This episode was a 9 out of 10. Starting immediately with the fight between Wanda and, what's her name? Agatha. Agatha is evil, but she's outside of her little ruin that she explained to us in the last episode what the rules were. And when they introduce magic, I always roll my eyes and I go, it's magic. It's the thing with no limit. But because there were rules put in place, I, like the ruin thing, I've come around to it. Yes, we don't know what chaos magic can do. It's unpredictable. It's limitless. But they also recognize that. And they also recognize that Wanda doesn't understand her power. And when this episode ends, it's Wanda, or the Scarlet Witch, trying to figure out her power and getting familiar with it. So that's character progression right there. Speaking of character progression, on my Twitter page, I put out a poll. Who had the better development, Monica or Wanda? I want you guys to vote on that poll and then come back to this video, please and thank you. Because I would say, until this episode happened, Monica Rambeau. But now that this episode has happened, and Monica got her progression too. Monica got her little message from a friend that scroll said, there's someone watching from up there. Who could it be? Nick Fury. But also, she got some progression. And now it's tied in my head. I don't know who got more progression, Monica or Wanda. Monica's friend who lives up in space. They never mention Fury's name specifically, in my opinion. It's because the actor is old. Anything can happen. So if they were to cement it with Nick Fury wants you, and then the worst happens, and by the time they film the next thing, Sam Jackson's not around to film it, it wouldn't look good. So they didn't specify Nick Fury's name for the future, so they can always be like, yeah, it was actually Carol that we're talking about all along. Carol was the one who wanted you. This episode was great. Wiccan and Speed. These are characters who everyone was like, oh, look, Young Avengers confirmed. You didn't see America Chavez is coming in Doctor Strange? That's 1. You didn't see the little twins in the trailer? That's 3 right there. All we need is Iron Lad. Oh, we're getting Riri Williams. Yeah, she can be a Young Avenger. Kamala Khan, she could be a Young Avenger. Even though they're champions, not Young Avengers. But we can do that. It looks like these 2 kids are gone. It looks like they're gone, and we can only just hear their screams, which means we're going to recast them should they ever return. But to me, as of now, they are gone. Vision, the X version, is gone also, except his death was on screen. The outside Vision, Cataract Vision, thank you, XR Kun, you might have been the guy who told me. The Cataract one that's white, that Vision has his memories back because all of the muscles and all of the parts in him retained their experiences from the 2015 Age of Ultron up until Infinity War. All of that is back. But without the Mind Stone, a lot is missing. So where did he go? I'm thinking Wakanda. And again, now I'm being a fan making my predictions. I'm thinking he needed to go to Shuri to gather more of who Vision is. Maybe the question of who is the real Vision, which is kind of what stopped him in his tracks, that big philosophical question, which was hinted at, which was we got to that because in prior episodes they would talk about those deep philosophical shit. There would be books that Vision would be reading and stuff. So when we got to that, maybe he's still looking for the answer to who's the real Vision, and is gonna go to Wakanda or anywhere. So that could be the journey Vision is on right now, where he will pop up. If I'm looking at the slate, I don't see a single show or film that fits Vision's narrative. So I don't know where he's going to come up. So when he shows up, it'll be a surprise. Fun. So Paul Bettany is staying here. Paul Bettany, the longest reigning actor in the MCU, because he was Jarvis in 2008. Paul Bettany. Let's see here. Vision, Wanda, the kids, Agatha, her character, good job. She was put into the nosy neighbor role, except when the hex ends, is she still the nosy neighbor? Wanda's capable, as we saw in the post-credit scene, of projecting herself acting all normal and doing two things at once. Like she can be getting Agatha under her spell this whole time and making Agatha think she's a nosy neighbor, even though the hex is gone. She could be doing that and reading at the same time. So let's just say Agatha is still is Agnes again, and we'll leave her there. I don't see her popping up until she needs to go visit her, which they could do, man. Look, the way that Marvel in Endgame and Infinity War visited the Collector, the Ancient One, the way that they visited Red Skull, Thor's mom, Frigga, like all of them characters that they went to, no one is gone from Marvel. Even when they die, they're not gone from Marvel. So let's remember that for their next Endgame style movie that they do. Agatha. What she did in the town when she awakened everyone from Wanda's spell, and they all looked at her and they said, "Yo, my daughter has, she lives upstairs. Like no one lets her out. Help! Like what are you doing, Wanda?" That's when Wanda's villainous to me came back because I remembered. Oh yeah, okay, I was mad at her at first, and then I found out that director Hayward was effing with her, so I said, fine, I'll give her that. But then reminding me that it was not just director Hayward, it's Wanda. She creates the hexes. She forces everyone to be in the place that they are. Nah, Wanda did do wrong things. And even after the big climactic ending, when she does speak to Monica, you can hear Wanda tell Monica that these guys are not going to forgive me, which is true. They shouldn't. What Wanda did was bad. But unlike before, when I was saying she's irredeemable, I am willing to give this character a chance. So I'm not dismissing Wanda. She's not my favorite. You guys know that Monica Rambeau is my favorite in this whole show, but I'm just not mad at Wanda the way I was. I'm just not in love with her. That's where I am with that character. I think I nailed all the characters. Jimmy Woo's in here, yay. Darcy made me laugh when she ran over. Director Hayward, what did she say? She said a funny joke. How did I forget? I just watched it. I don't know. It was good. This show was a 9 out of 10. This episode was. As a whole, the series, I will give it either a 7 or an 8. A 7 or an 8, because I'm just forgetting the black and white episodes and stuff. If you're a TV fan, if you're a fan of I Love Lucy and that stuff, I can see how that spoke to you. So I'm not calling it trash. I'm saying it wasn't my cup of tea. That's all. That's all I mean by that. And yes, I do believe none of it was rewatchable. Like the fake Pietro stuff, finding out it was Ralph all along. Okay, I guess the thrill of holy shit, Evan Peters isn't there anymore during the rewatch because we know the answer to it. There was a lot of shock value moments that only existed within the weeks that they were happening at, but now that we're past all of it, there's really nothing to read about. The devil's in the details. Who cares? It meant nothing. The stork that was alive and running. Why was the stork alive? Who's in control of that? Who cares? It's irrelevant. A lot of things that we thought about were worthwhile were not. I just shrugged my shoulders. So yeah, maybe it's a 7 out of 10 maybe. WandaVision as a whole, 7 out of 10. Good entertainment. It was fun. I'll never forget the community stuff that happened here on YouTube with that show. Everyone was together, everyone was theorizing, and that was fun, even though it was for nothing. It doesn't mean that a thing isn't meaningful because it lasts. Big line. Chillmonger. Subscribe by clicking on the smiley face that is right over there. And check out what I do next, which would be Falcon and Winter Soldier. And maybe some Ms. Marvel stuff. Planning something.